Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Women Veterans Alliance. It's our Wednesday webinar. I am Melissa Washington. I am the CEO and founder of Women Veterans Alliance. We are a nationwide organization with our primary focus is to connect women veterans with each other and resources. And we do that through our online and in-person networking and events. Oops. So if you haven't seen it, we are doing a logo design competition. So if any of you are creative or you know of someone, we are doing a logo design competition for the upcoming 75th anniversary of the Women's Armed Services Integration Act that was signed on June 12th, 1948. So we're looking for doesn't matter, woman, man, whomever wants to design it. There'll be a competition, and then that logo will be put on commemorative t-shirts, hats, cups for everyone. So again, if you're something you're interested in, if you're on different social media platforms, we're on Facebook, and we also have a private Facebook group and our page. We're on Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, and of course on YouTube. If you're not familiar with what we do or have, we do offer business and career coaching. We do have the only online directory for women veteran-owned businesses. We have a plethora of resources. We also have an allies directory, and these are other organizations that predominantly serve women veterans. We also have a listing of women veteran memorials and monuments throughout the U.S. We do have membership opportunities, and we do have a store that we feature all kinds of things from jewelry to books to stickers to hats and scarves. So everything there in our store. What do we have upcoming? Oops. Yeah. So it's the month of April already. Next week, we've got Sherry, who's going to be talking about graduating grief, moving from existing and surviving to living and thriving. And that is a Wednesday webinar series. And then the following week, we have Christina Craig, who's going to talk about conquering loneliness. And then we're going to end the month of April with Jenna talking about change your mind with plant medicine. Those are our Wednesday webinar series. And I also host a radio show on Women Lead Radio. It's called Women Veterans in Business, and we bring on special guests each month, and you can tune in to hear us live Monday, April 17th at 9 a.m. And it's also recorded as well, and that is shared after our radio show. Upcoming events, the end of April, April 29th is our Women Veterans Engage event. You can scan the QR code if you're interested. We do have several in-person locations throughout the U.S., and we also too, you can join us online. And this year the theme is the Resilient You, Time to Recharge. And if you see the speakers, we've got the power of the bounce back, what is life balance and how we achieve it, show up and show out, and level up your life in just 34 minutes per day. So it's definitely something that you may want to check out. Women Veterans Engage, Saturday, April 29th. In June, again, I had mentioned Women Veterans Recognition Day, June 12th. Here in the Sacramento, California area where I'm at, we have two of our fundraising events. One is a fun run and parade. And then we also have a outdoor dining experience. It's our summer soiree. We're celebrating military women. And if you haven't heard of the Unconference, that is our signature event. It's our 7th one, September 8th through the 10th at the Tropicana Resort in Las Vegas. You can scan the QR code. Definitely want to come for this amazing 3-day weekend and get connected with other women veterans. And it's also open, of course, to active duty guard and reserve. We do get spouses as well as caregivers and others that support women veterans, but primarily it is women veterans that are in attendance. We launched earlier this year veteran.events. We have a calendar for different events that are in person, online, and some of them are not specifically women veteran. We do have a page for women veteran conferences. And also too, we're building out a speakers directory. So if, and this is only for veterans, it's male or female. So if you're interested in being listed in our directory, definitely visit veteran.events website. And at the end of the presentation, so you got to stay to the end of the presentation, someone will receive a gift card to our Women Veterans Alliance store. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Melanie Rae, who actually, she has also two presenter who she will introduce after I introduce her. Melanie is the creator and author of the National Guided Business Plan training platform, which includes books and classroom materials such as First Time CEO, Contracting Confidence, and Top Shelf Retail. As an early adopter of experiential learning in the entrepreneur space, Melanie created a Demo.Write.Discuss Discuss format that entrepreneur educators have utilized to teach more than 10,000 business owners. In 2020, she was commissioned by the WBDC and CMSDC to design a citywide program to introduce government and corporate contracting to thousands of underrepresented business owners in Chicago. Her English-Spanish curriculum for scaling business won a City of Chicago Innovation Award in 2019. McDonald's partnered with YMCA USA to sponsor a 6-week guided business plan course to teach 350 women at 14 YWC locations. SoCal Gas, California Water Association, and WBENC tapped into her to teach her business continuity to certified suppliers. She has taught more than 1,500 classes, served as president of a Toastmasters International Club for 3 years, and loves to be on a hiking trail. A native of Massachusetts, she resides in Los Angeles. All right, Melanie, it's all you.
Wow, that was one of the best readings of that bio. Thank you so much for that. And Wendy, I'm loving that picture. I haven't seen that of you before, and people will get to understand our relationship. But that's wow, supermodel. I want to first say thank you so much to you, Melissa. It has been amazing to see the growth of Women's Veterans Alliance. We met several years ago. I attended one of the first unconference events, and it just continues to grow. And I can't believe that you have the stamina for all those events. So you really are truly giving an opportunity for so many, not just women veterans, but for people in general to really grow. So thank you. And you've gotten so many recognitions, well deserved. Well, I am happy to be here and to be with you who are going to be checking out this recording after this Lunch and Learn, but we definitely do invite you to join us for the live Lunch and Learns on a weekly basis. So today is all about certification and how you can grow your business through government contracting. So Teresa and Jetta and Dr. Yvette, thank you so much for, and Ashley and somebody else calling in. Thank you so much for being here. It's a very interactive session. I have taught a lot of classes. And so this one is going to be about really setting the foundation of what you need. So we're going to introduce or talk about the new certification specifically for women veterans, but really seeing what it is that you need in this moment to really take the next step forward. So new certification, new contracting opportunities. Melissa pretty much gave you the rundown. This is an example of one of my books, the cover of it, and how I got into working with the military community is that I wrote a book called Guided Business Plan Military CEO, Chief Everything Officer, and it was designed to bring together people with similar backgrounds in the same room, kind of like what we're doing today, to be able to grow their business with a shared kind of common background. And then because of that, I ended up doing a monthly meetup group specifically for women veteran entrepreneurs, part of the Woven Network, that Cameo, which is a California-based organization that they sponsored for a couple of years. So I've made some tremendous friendships from it. And I know that a couple of people who were in the program or in the meetup, they have gone on to create some really big, impactful businesses. I am very happy that Wendy O'Brown, retired Lieutenant Colonel, U.S. Army Reserve, is here with us today as well. And you'll hear some more about her and her journey, but overall, she has, actually, I probably should just read this. All right, so Wendy identifies and reduces complex risk surfaces and optimizes resources within the target operational focus to maximize opportunities for financial growth. So really, she's consulting the CEOs of large corporations because she's like, you know, I just consulted the military. We just did this big initiative. So I can help you, Fortune 500 companies as well. She's a senior officer, recently retired in the U.S. Army Reserve, ensuring U.S. Army forces are equipped to conduct critical military operations in Europe and Africa by providing strategic plans to execute supply chain and logistics missions. She's advised at the highest levels of leadership in the American and global governments, including NATO. So she's here to give you the insight. I'm more telling you the process about going after government contracting, and she can give you the other side point of view in terms of the supply chain logistics and just how do you start building relationships so you can get your small business out in front of the right people. And her company is called I Support You, And even though she was abroad, she participated in one of the training courses that I offered called We Excel. And that is how I have gotten to know her. So our agenda today is just to do some group introductions. You met me and Wendy. I'd like for you guys just to share who you are, to come off mic and briefly share who you are and what kind of attracted you to this event. And then we're just going to talk about the new certification, 7 steps to contracting. We'll get into our Q&A with Wendy, and then if time, and if you need help with your capability statement, we'll work on that headline. That's one of the sometimes most difficult parts. And I do have a handout for you that will have the 7 steps and some other basic information about getting started with introductory contracting. So let me stop share. And if you would just like to share who you are and what brought you out. How about you, Dr. Yvette?
Good afternoon, ladies. My name is Dr. Yvette Harris, and my company is EDR Consulting and Training. I am in Southern California. How did I get here? Melanie. When Melanie calls, I show up because I am always going to walk away with some great information that I can implement into my business immediately. So where she goes, I go.
Excellent, thank you. Teresa, Jetta, or Ashley, would you like to share? All right, Teresa.
Hello, ladies. Teresa Figueroa. I'm with the Department of Veterans Services. My interest here today is to learn and take some information and share with our female veterans out there, working with them across the state of New Mexico. So thank you for the information.
I'll go. I'm Jetta Tatum. I don't have a business yet, but I'm embarking upon one. And I basically found myself starting over. And 2022 was a really rough year. It was constant change, from quitting my job to moving to, just buying a house, everything, and finding myself in a place where there's no one. So I'm going it alone and trying to figure out next steps.
Where are you located?
I'm in Roseville, close to Sacramento.
Hey, that's where Melissa is. So you already have people. I mean, especially when you join these online communities and then people say, hey, let's get up, let's get together. So I say, keep coming out to these events, build your circle that way, especially all the events that Melissa has. Okay.
It feels promising. So I am starting school in May, and I am going to be a drone operator. I would like to fly FLIR and do search and rescue missions. And so, yeah, and at that point, I will be establishing my own business.
See, I already have somebody else I can introduce you to. She does drone. See, Yvette knew. It's our mutual friend, and she's Air Force, and she's just excelled really well in the drone, like where she is like a facilitator. You can catch her on some of her YouTube videos too. So her name is Karina, Passi, Karina Passi.
Tassi. Oh my gosh.
As in Paul.
So amazing. Thank you.
Yeah.
Put your email address in the chat and I'll make the connection, Jetta.
There it is. Thank you.
And then Ashley, what about you? Would you like to share? She's got some twins, okay.
So she
all right, well, I'm glad that you're here.
She put it in the chat, so I'm gonna read what she said. She said, hello all, I cannot speak because I have 5-year-old twins that are currently experiencing a teen temper tantrum, but I have an all-natural self-care company, Nice Naturals, NISNaturals.com, where we nourish your skin and nourish your soul. I am currently getting into government contracting as well after having to leave my 18-year career in the federal government.
Okay, so you may have some insight, depending on what you did in the federal government, to share with this group as well. All right. Oh, thank you again for sharing what we're going to talk about, or,
Hey, Melanie,
Just
there's someone on
highlight.
the phone if they wanted to introduce themselves.
oh, thank you. Paula, would you like to check in?
It's got the 346.
No.
Okay.
But feel free to join at any point. It's this small group. And I know that we can definitely share resources with one another. So one of the newest certifications out there is the Women Veteran-Owned Small Business. Before, there was a veteran-owned small business, and there was service-disabled veteran-owned small business. And so this one, I think it's about, I'm not sure if it officially passed this year or last year. But this is providing more opportunities. And here's a website. I'm going to actually go to the webpage so we can see what's on there. But just so you know, the Women Veteran-Owned Small Business is going to make it so that certain contracts are set aside for this audience. So right now, there are set asides for women-owned small businesses, which means that if, I don't want to get into the details of it, but essentially, if there are eligible businesses to compete for it, then it'll be set aside just for those women who have competed for it. All right, so let's go and look at that page. What is that? What does this mean? So when you click on the site, it takes you to the Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization. They often refer to it as OSBU. I mean, people pronounce it in different ways, but you may hear that. So OSBU, because I was just in a presentation recently, and she mentioned it over and over again. So Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization. And you should really be aware of it to start building relationships, especially depending on your business. So Ashley, since you already have a product, and let's say if you're trying to sell to commissaries, then you probably want to get with the Office of Small Disadvantaged Business Utilization that's related to the Department of Defense. And not all agencies have this. I'm pretty sure that the DoD has it, but you want to become, start building relationships with them so that way you can be top of mind and hear about RFPs that might come out when they do requests for proposal. So let's look at this and what they say. What is the Women Veteran-Owned Small Business Initiative? So that I is there as well. It's the first of its kind to equip, empower, and educate women veteran entrepreneurs for success and economic opportunities. In addition, they intend to collaborate and leverage commercial and other government agency intellectual capital. They want to raise awareness of the need to increase women veteran-owned small business utilization. They want to expand and enable access, economic, procurement, and learning opportunities for WVOSBs, and increase collaboration with other federal agencies, commercial entities, nonprofits, and educational institutions, and to foster collaborations and strategic partnerships among women veteran-owned small businesses, kind of like what we're just doing here. So there are more links and resources. I definitely recommend clicking on all of them to find out what's available. It is a very, very new program. So you can kind of see what they list as accomplishments. So for example, over here on this side, they said we've increased 10% in the vendor information pages. So let me explain what that is. It's a good statistic to put out there, but what it means is that more people have now signed up to be verified and listed in the directory. Okay, so more people are becoming aware of this and are signing up in the directory, and you can click here to apply, and I'll show you what that page looks like. They're starting to get more relationships, and they're starting to team with one another, and they're starting to become more aware. It's very preliminary. There's a list of resources, and you'll see that Women Veterans Alliance is here as well. Veterans in Business is another very active organization to be familiar with and to associate with, work with. I'm not familiar with these two, but I want to be. So Institute of Veterans in Procurement and Women Veterans Enterprise Center. Are any of you familiar with those two organizations? Okay. So it looks like there definitely are a lot of resources out there to support women veterans. And then here's some more information, and we've got a video as well. So can you kind of check this out on your own and kind of see where the direction is of where they're going to take it. In terms of registering, when I clicked on that link to register, you want to just use one of the partners that they already have. So login.gov, I believe that one's associated with SAM, and SAM is the System for Award Management. So if you're doing anything with the government, you definitely have to start there with SAM to get that process started, get your own account set up. But so they're using some of these kind of more stringent controls like ID me. I had to do that for something, and they just want you to take a picture. There's no sending in a picture. You take a picture right then and there. So the technology is really making it sure that people are accurately representing themselves. Another link, which I'll share with you as well, is the verified, the Women Veteran Owned Small Business Initiative. But this is where you get verified. And so I think I missed that link. What I'm looking for is the link to actually register. All right, so definitely start here, because this was the link that said if you wanted to get verified and registered, it should come here. But I don't see it clearly off the top in terms of the link to register directly. So let me put them both into the chat. And this is for the WVOSBI. Oops. Are there any questions so far? Definitely start with those two places. And Jetta,
Sorry, I couldn't get my unmute fast enough. So does this mean that, oh my gosh, I just lost the thought. Sorry about it. I'll throw it in the chat once I think of it.
well, I was going to ask you, what type of business do you think that you might start?
Oh, for me?
Mm-hmm.
Well, so I'd love to do search and rescue, which would probably be more of an on-call. But I would definitely need to be in a list, a registry, so that, you know, I would be called, and also word of mouth. And once you get known in certain regions and in fields, I think, you're more likely to be called. So what I'd like to do is, do the infrared imaging. That could incorporate so many different things, but all kinds of search and rescue missions.
Do you know which government agencies you would approach?
I do not. I have very little information on this right now.
I think FEMA would probably be the first one if you're going at a federal level. And again, these certifications are at the federal level as of now, but I'm sure as they get adopted, that states and local municipalities will recognize them as well, especially as they start to have more goals for veteran-owned spend. But FEMA, and at the state level, because I know at the state they have something that says, do you want to be on the list to be called for emergencies? And maybe at the city as well. But I think there's probably a lot of opportunities for you there. And the experience that you have in your career can help you, even though if you're just starting the business, you may have all this past performance that you can use to prove that they should hire you, even though you just registered your company.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Go back to the presentation, which is, so there are set-asides, the VA has set-asides. And then, so that's something just to be aware of. Again, the fact that let's say you've got 1,000 people that could potentially go after that particular contract. If they now set it aside for only veterans, that may narrow your pool down to 10. So that's just an example, but that's another reason to get certified or to look into the certification. So certification is a marketing tool that will make you stand out. Whatever certification you have, it's not just I get certified and now I'm going to be given contracts. It's really to help you stand out from others who are also capable and qualified to do the work. So you want to get verified. That's the link I put in there as well. Go through the process. It's new. Are there any questions about the certification?
So being verified and being certified are two different things.
In this case, it's probably the same.
Okay.
Because I know, and the reason why I say in this case is because I know that the Veterans Administration, Veteran Affairs, that they have a certification, but they call it CVE, which is verification. And so that's why I'm saying that it's just more of a wordsmith thing.
Thank you.
Oh, and Melanie, real quick, so since the with the CVE, since the SBA has now taken that over from the VA, they're calling it Vet Cert. The SBA.
Right.
To get certified.
So now it's clear. Yeah, it's their certification. Okay, thank you,
Yep.
Melissa.
You're welcome.
Anything else? So I'm trying to highlight the 7 steps so that way we can really have more time for Q&A with Wendy. So these are quick 7 steps, and I'll give you a handout as well. So if you're just starting the process to go into contracting, first thing, determine the need. Is there an agency that has what it is that you're offering? Or is it that they have a need for what you're offering? And Jetta just clearly said, you know, I do the search and rescue and I can take it to the next level with all this new technology. I think there's definitely a need for what I have. So FEMA might be one of the first places that she looks at. Find the departments. You can easily look up the different departments that are available and start with the Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization. You start finding out where they are because they often attend local events and online events as well. And that way, if you keep showing up, people get to know you and then they want to know more about you and go to your site and ask you for different things like capability statement. So build your relationships by finding out where they are and then also finding out where your decision maker might be. So who is it within within FEMA that might be saying, I want to hire somebody for search and rescue? Find out who that might be. And again, another way is to build relationships with that person. So they're the ones that are the decision makers, whereas you have contracting officers who are the ones who will help with the whole procurement process. You want to have a capability statement, and I do have a tutorial that I can share with Melissa to send out. It's a free tutorial where it is half an hour of me kind of taking you through the process of writing your capabilities statement. And you will need that for government contracting as well as corporate contracting, but it really helps you hone in on your message. So if we have some time later on and anyone has a capability statement, then we can kind of go over it and see if there's anything that needs to be tweaked. Register in SAM, which is a system for award management. So that's the main place that people go to find their vendors. And that could be a kind of detailed process. So I know that Dr. Yvette, she does offer that. She offers support in that area. But I would say just to not be intimidated by it, just to say that there's so many opportunities out there. It's one little hurdle to get over and you never know what else is going to come from it. Attend events, that's the biggest thing. It's attend events. And there's a lot of them that are being offered virtually. To work with an advisor, the PTAC, which is the Procurement Technical Assistance Centers, and I'll put that in the chat, they offer no cost consulting to you. Procurement Technical Assistance, and they're specifically to help you go after government contracts. And they're located across the country. APTAC. So if you go to that main site, then you can find your local one. They'll have an intake interview with you to find out more about what you're trying to do and your business, and then you can meet with them on a regular basis. This is funded in part by the federal government's part. The reason I say that because I know technically it's funded by the Department of Defense, but I feel like they just kind of swallowed that and somebody moved into a different department. But essentially for our purposes is that they provide no cost consulting to you. So those are the 7 steps to get started with contracting. And it's really just, I just want to make sure that it's accessible, that you know, as somebody who's just starting out, that it's not just for somebody else. This could be for you. This could be your time to go after contracts to build your business or to grow your business, especially with all the infrastructure spending that is coming or pouring into communities across the United States. So what I wanted to do now, I'll ask you for questions, but I wanted to bring on Wendy so she can give you the insiders in terms of, as from the buying side, what is it that really stands out to them when it comes to small businesses? What do small businesses need to have or communicate? Before I transition to her though, are there any questions on these 7 steps? Yeah. Okay. Q&A. With Wendy. All right, so again, thank you so much for being here. Wendy just recently made the transition back from living overseas. Now, as somebody who has been on the other side when, you've been in the room where they've had to procure large amounts of materials, goods, and services. What is it that you may have heard about them saying about small businesses, whether or not they want to utilize small businesses or they don't, or small businesses that have this really stand out to them more so? What kind of insight can you provide us in that area?
I would tell you, I think the main thing is about, can you get the job done? So if you approach a large federal agency, and you're a small business, they need to know, how are you capable of getting the job done? Can you stand by your budget? Or are you just doing the lowest bid? And then once you get the contract, you're going to, continuously add costs. But I would say the main thing is, do you have the resources to get the job done? Because with many of them, what it will take to get the job done, they normally will just not automatically, I don't want to say that, especially with recording, but they look at DOD, the traditional DOD defense contracting company, because they know they can do it. And they have the money and the resources to do it. So sometimes I would say, even recommend partnering up with a major DOD defense company, especially maybe in the beginning, just to learn the ropes, and knowing that you have support. Because if all else failed, they're not going to really look so much at the small business and go, small business, why didn't you do it? The larger company would be reviewed. But bottom line, can you get the job done? And then you have to be able to explain how you can get it done, and it has to make sense. You can't just say, I'm gonna work hard. I'm gonna work hard to get the job done. Like, you can't talk that kind of talk. You really have to have it laid out and itemized, detailed on how you are capable of getting the job done.
What would that look like? Let's say it was like a very small project in terms of the itemization. Is it just like a typical proposal where you're saying that this is a timeline and these are milestones that I'll achieve? Or is there a specific kind of format?
Other than the traditional format, is just that I guess the wording will have to be clear and not just regurgitating in what you saw in the proposal, saying, yes, we're able to, sometimes people may use the technique of regurgitate the wording that put back that was stated. No, you really need to know how to say it in your own words, so that when your bid is being reviewed, a person can picture in their mind, based off your words, that you're capable of doing it. So you are talking to seasoned people that are able, to see through if you're just doing fancy wording or you really know what you're talking about. So you just have to cut out the flowery words and really stick to the details of how you are able to get this job done. The type of people you're going to have, the skill sets of the people that you're going to have, the budget and a realistic budget, and then any other type of resource. You need to be very clear about that, so that the person that's reading your bid, they can picture in their mind, okay, yeah, they're able to get the job done.
Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of times people have the mindset of that they're only going to accept the lowest bid. So I have to be the lowest bid. And you mentioned the fact that if you do the lowest bid, but then you don't have enough money in order to do the job, then that looks, very poorly on you. So how do you address that? Like, as a small business owner, how do you kind of say, I want to get this job, but I don't want to underprice myself either? So are there any other things that they take into account?
I would say, one, your reputation and integrity is huge. Even if something is not clear, if you have a reputation of, doing excellent work, that definitely goes, that goes in your favor. I do understand, about the whole lowest bid. The only thing is, especially if you're brand new, if you are way off, people are going to remember that for next time. So you have to see whether is it worth it. I my personal opinion, I will still try to stay as true to cost as much as possible, because your reputation is everything. Your name is everything. So you don't want to be known as one of those companies, you know, that lowball, but then the cost ends up being 3-4 times the amount. If you don't already have an established great reputation, then that can work for you. Now, of course, if you've already been in the contracting for amount of time and you may have lowballed, and then it may be a little bit more, your reputation and your great reputation and your image will get you through that situation. Like, okay, well, I trust this company. So maybe they just didn't foresee something and you're given the benefit of the doubt. But I would say starting out, stay very much true to cost as much as possible, because you're getting your reputation and image formed. And that's more important than winning a contract, in my opinion, because your reputation and image can take you a long way, or it can shut things down.
So is it accurate to say that it's not always the best, the lowest price, that's often the best value and best
Absolutely.
price?
That is definitely considered, especially depending on the type of project that it is. Some projects you can go lowest bid and it's not gonna jeopardize the mission or the goal. But other times it is about, hey, what is best value? And so I'm a strong believer, stay true to your word, and that don't just go for the lowest, really go for what you believe that the budget is, what the cost is, so that you know you can at a minimum meet the basic requirement of expectation, assuming you get the contract.
Thank you. Dr. Yvette, you have a question?
I do. So, Wendy, coming from the military into the government and now into the contracting space, is there a particular agency? Melanie pulled up all of the different things in the veteran space. Is there a particular agency that you would recommend for additional training? We know, you know, PTAC and SCORE and SBDC, but there's just so much out there. There's so many out there. And I'm at that place where I know that I can provide some services as a small business. My next step, it's a lot.
So your business is providing training to corporate?
I provide training and consulting. And so I now want to, instead of going business to customer, I want to go business to government. And I know that I may need to start off with a smaller contract, like you said, based upon capacity. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with being a sub. I have no problem with teaming. But it's how do you even start those processes? Or is there an agency or a company to go through to get that training to be able to, now I know exactly.
That was my question too. How do you find teaming partners?
To make that move? Yeah.
Okay, so one of the things that was on a previous slide about the attend events, everything, all business is based on relationships.
Okay.
Period. I don't care what industry, they're all based off of relationships. So you need to attend events or conferences. Just to give you an example, the contract that I did win, or contract that I got, was through IBM. And I happened to meet one of the executive partners, you know, at a conference. And we talked, hit it off. You know, down the line, I was able to be hired for consulting at IBM. And other people did too. Other people applied, you know, but I got it. I would tell you, building authentic relationship, this is my opinion, building authentic relationships is going to be a game changer. You've got to go to these events, and I don't mean just exchanging business cards, or just being connected to LinkedIn, but actually establishing a relationship where a person starts to get a feel for you, it's almost like dating. You know, it really is. It's almost like dating. You know, you could say, I have a checklist of a partner. You can have a checklist of what you want your partner to be. And you can meet that partner and you go, it just wasn't there. And then you can meet someone, they have half the things on your checklist and you're just like, you know, you Google, and the thing is, you're like, well, what's that? You really can't place it, but I would tell you that authentic connection and relationship is going to be key to building your business and establishing a reputable brand. So attend conferences that you know that the people that you want to network with, or the companies, so just say some other contracting companies, or just federal events, because you attend those. Be ready to build authentic relationship. You can tell when a person is just a collect business cards. You don't want to be that person. You want to be authentic in your conversation with people so that they remember you, and also follow up and just and like I said, and just build from that. I would say that has a lot, because people do business with people they like and trust. Period. And so that gives you the edge, even against somebody who might be even more qualified, because you're the better fit because they trust you. So I would just say attend, like I said, when I say events, conferences, or any other type of events that companies that either you want to do business with or that you want to partner with. And another thing too, you never know who's that person that's going to get you in the door. Sometimes we look for people with a particular title. Yeah, they may have the title, but it could be somebody, it could be their executive assistants that's really the true gatekeeper who you have to get through.
Thank you.
So all of that plays into mind. So the way you meet it, you got to attend these conferences, you got to build these authentic relationships, be genuinely interested in the person that you're talking to, and then stay in contact. That's what makes a huge difference.
Okay, thank you.
So Jetta said thank you. It came just to me, but she said to you, Dr. Yvette, thank you for asking that question. And one of the best conferences to go to is the Women Veterans Alliance events, not just the unconference, but the other ones too. You know, like we have here, like Jetta already has a connection with somebody that we know. It's really just showing up. What I wanted to do was to bring up 2 websites as a place for you guys to start looking up some data about going after contracts and kind of get your opinion, Wendy, on these in terms of maybe how they are utilized on the other side. So we've got usaspending.gov. And so this is a resource for finding out what the government has spent money on. And once you find out what they spent it on, you know who they spent it with. You know who they spent it with, you can find out who you need to contact, right? So that's one way to find out to be a sub under these different projects. And the other one, before I turn it over, is the Federal Procurement Data System. And this one is looks like it needs a little attention in terms of the ease of use compared to this website versus this one. But this is just another one which has federal procurement data. So if you want to be able to go in here and kind of support the why you're going after certain contracts, you can do that. To be honest, I have not utilized it. So, but I do know that it's been referred as a good place for data. Have you utilized either of those, Wendy?
I would say, oh, go ahead.
Well, Dr. Yvette's going to say something after you.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I can't vouch for sure that these are being utilized. I'm sure they are, especially with it being .gov. In addition to GSA, GSA, that website is pretty much well known as well. But what you were saying, Melanie, as far as the strategy of finding out, who won the contract and being able to go to events that where this company is either being sponsored or they will attend, that would be a great way to start building authentic relationships. But also, like I said, look up GSA. I think it's GSA.gov.
GSA.gov.
Well. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yvette.
Oh, I was just going to say I was watching a video just yesterday on the federal procurement data site, and I don't remember how they did it, but the person in the video actually showed how to go in and find the list of who's getting the contracts, and they showed a couple of categories of things where it's like one company is getting all of the contracts. And then it's a matter of, is that a small business? Is that particular agency doing their set asides? And so while it can be daunting at times and challenging just to get all your data pieces and points and figure everything out, that's where I thank you, Melissa, and thank you, Melanie, for putting things like this together where we can network and, okay, you take this piece over here, you take this piece over here, and we need to work together. The more I listen, the more I believe we need to work together to get into these spaces, because the government is huge and they're buying everything from airplanes to toilet paper and everything in between. And there's no reason why we can't. We just need to, I think, work together to get in.
Yeah, I go ahead, Mel. No, I was going to say, very good point. And I would tell you the hardest part of all of this is getting in. Once you get in, like, you know, and you'll start meeting all the right people, because it almost is like a little club, so to speak, this club, and you're trying to figure out how do I get in this organization, you know, whether it's like a sorority, maybe that might be a better, you know, how do I get in this sorority? You know, who do I have to know? Who do I have to build authentic relationships with? And this is the same thing. And because once you do, the hardest part is getting in. Once you do get in and you go, oh, I know this person, I know that person, I know how this process works, I know how that process works. But it does start here, you know, with basic information sessions to say, try this, you know, try going through this organization, or, you know, the various things that I see listed here in the chat. Melissa, you put a lot of great links up, you and Melanie. It does start there. It does get better. It's not as painstaking as it looked. And to me, this is just my personal opinion, that's part of the process, weeding people out, because most people are gonna go, ooh, this is too much. That's part of the process. That's what I believe anyway. That's how I figure government sometimes works. You make it look more scarier than what it is. That just weeds people out. It's pledging. That's the pledging part.
Just like basic training, that's what it's designed to do,
Yeah.
to weed people out. Yes.
Definitely, if you're watching this, there was a reason why you're here. It took years to get over the implemented obstacles of getting certified. And so you're here just to know that it's worth it, because it does open doors. It does lead to being involved in communities like this, where you have a dynamic of businesses, small businesses that have similar goals that you have. I'd say try teaming. All right, two things. One is teaming. So if the project is
Hold on one second,
for
Melanie.
you,
I think your voice
Yeah,
is
something's going
feedback.
on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
change anything. And
I don't know, you don't sound clear at all.
I'm glad it wasn't just me.
Oh.
no, it wasn't just you. Yeah, Melanie, you were about to start listing things. I'm like, no, we need to hear this. But
Yeah.
whatever you just did, you've been clear all this time until like the last 30 seconds, something just happened, something you might
I
have
did
pushed.
nothing. So it's still okay. I want to leave and come back.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Melissa, I just want to say thank you. And to any of the other veteran women that are here, if you have not been to VWise, go. If you're not able to go this year, do the application to go next year. And if you're not ready to go this year, this gives you a whole year to do some little things with your business, so that when you go next year, you can go with intent to gain more information and to network. I went to VWise in 2018, and I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready personally to get the help that I needed, for the help that I could have received from my business. That said, I did actually make an absolutely amazing connection with someone that I still keep in touch with today, that is still helping me and assisting me. But had I been better prepared personally in my confidence in who I was as a new entrepreneur, it would have served me. It would have served me very well. But V-Wise is an absolutely amazing 3-day event.
A must.
It is where I met Melanie, and I highly encourage you to go.
And
I
I
wish
put
I
the
could
link
go.
in the chat.
Yeah,
I'll be there it's a couple weeks in San Antonio. If anyone's coming, I'll be there.
I
A
wish I
couple
could
weeks
go.
from now. Oh,
It's in
Yes.
April.
yeah. I'm gonna try to see if I can be a speaker or support some way. But I highly recommend, if you have an opportunity to participate in V-Wise, to go. I was just saying, I think it's because one of the websites I went to had a video, and that may have messed things up.
Oh, okay. Mhm.
Oh, teaming. Just if you think a project is too small or too big for you, to figure out if you can team with somebody else, because even in the private sector, they encourage that. That's one of the ways that they can get more small businesses involved, by the partnerships that are there. So we only have 5 minutes. To me, this went by really fast in terms of talking about opportunities, how to utilize the Women Veteran-Owned Small Business Certification to be at the forefront. I mean, this is evolving. So if you get certified, you're going to be one of the first to know, and probably can maybe add your opinion and sway how things go in the future. And just to continue to get to know each other and to show up. So Teresa, I know you're here kind of gathering information for others. So I think, do you want to share what some of your main takeaways are that you're going to share with others?
Yeah, no, the resources, because working closely with our Reebok team, Boots to Business, and all these, the CPAT and whatnot, also part of the business advocates here in New Mexico. And when I think of the different initiatives within the Women's Veterans Program for New Mexico, homelessness, employment, underemployment, those kinds of things, and we start to need to think different. How do we make ourselves independent? How do we put ourselves on the map? How can we do better than what someone else is already doing? And to have that kind of independence, having these resources, whether it's homelessness, employment, self-employment, and these kinds of things, these are wonderful tools that I can guide somebody, much like Dr. Harris said, attend the WISE conference and these kinds of things, so that I can speak of it, hearing testimonies, if you will, and how I can share that information. So very good information. Thank you, ladies.
That's the main thing, is to get it out there, let others know. They can get into the sorority. I'm still trying to get in.
I just want to say, Melissa, you know, I've been out of the military since active duty since 1989. And this is the first that I'm hearing about this organization. And it is amazing, and apparently a wealth of resources. I've been sitting here clicking and putting my name in and all kind of stuff. I don't know if things have changed, because when I left, you know, I got a ticket or whatever, I got to go home, and that was it. But nothing to help me transition to the outside. And so it is my hope that the various branches are given some type of packet, you know, as people are transitioning, that they're given, I don't know, a binder or things like
Yes.
this. They are?
Yes.
Yes, it's gotten much better.
Okay, well,
Yes.
so then you have a group of us from the 80s and early 90s that are still doing things and looking to help people and make impacts. We are just like, it's kind of a as you go. There's a whole group of us, I'm gonna say in our 50s and 60s, that, you know, want to do some things and don't even know where to start.
Well, I'm glad you met Melanie and you came to the right place. So get on our email list. You'll get dialed into all the great things we're doing and all of our connections. And you've been into V-Wise, so that's one thing. And then there's another event in May, the Vets 23 conference in Florida, and they're bringing all different government COs, the contracting officers out there. So if you want to meet with some of those people, that's another good conference to go to. And also Veterans in Business. They'll have theirs in San Diego in November. That's another good
I'm
conference. to
going
go
this
to.
year. This year I'm going. We were
Yes.
we were set to go last year and I just couldn't make it. But yeah, this year, I think there's going to be a small group of us that are heading.
Awesome.
I will say just one quick thing is that they're also Veterans in Business is having something on the East Coast at the end of April. So April 29th in New Jersey.
Yes. Yeah, they're expanding. They just did something in Tennessee at the the Women Business Conference as well. And I did put a link for our entrepreneurship page. So if anyone's interested in the career coaching, but also to all those websites that we listed, I have a whole PDF where you can just click on all those links. And then for those that are in California, there is a specific certification for Disabled Veteran Business Enterprise, DVBE. And they're always putting on workshops here in California and connecting with GSA. And I'm dialed in there as well. So just we're here to be a resource and a connector.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. And thank you, Wendy and Dr. Yvette, Jetta, Teresa, Ashley, Michaela, and Caller. Thank you so much for being here.
So you don't go away because I have this really cool thing we do with a giveaway. So
Okay.
I found this
Can I
really
just
cool
say-
website and I'd love to show it because it's really cool. So we're gonna I'm gonna spin, and then whoever name gets chosen, you will get a $20 gift card to our Women Veterans Alliance store. So we get to spin it. Who doesn't like to spin?
That is really cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Nope.
It's fixed.
All right, we have a winner. All right.
I told you
You're
at the
supposed to
beginning.
stop.
When she said at the
Earlier.
beginning, somebody was going to win, I raised my hand.
There you go. Yes. So yeah, I will send you. You'll get an email with the gift card.
Thank you.
So and y'all get the link as long as you're registered for this session. You'll get the link, but you can always find it on our YouTube channel as well. Thank you to Melanie. I appreciate you and your continued support. And Wendy, thank you. Welcome back to the USA. So,
Thank you for
Yes.
having me here.
all right.
Thank you so much. This
All
was
right.
so amazing.
Yep. And Jetta, I hope to see you soon. I'm right up the road in Lincoln, so I'm not far from you at all.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Awesome. All right. Take care, everyone.
All right,
Bye-bye.
thank you.
Bye.
Bye.